President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's recent visit to Brazil has been described as a strategic diplomatic move aimed at strengthening bilateral relations, boosting economic ties, and promoting cultural exchange between Nigeria and Latin America's largest economy, with key engagements in trade, energy, agriculture, and technology. The visit reaffirms Nigeria's commitment to diversifying its international partnerships and attracting investments. As Nigeria seeks to expand its global footprint, today we'll discuss the outcomes, agreements signed, and the potential impact of the president's trip on the Nigerian economy and citizens. As well, this and some other, a lot of things that transpired, we'll be talking about on Nigeria today. Thanks for joining us. I'm your carrier, Clinton. Now, with me in the studio for, to talk about President Tinubu's visit to Brazil and some key takeaways is Dr. Adoyi Matthew Omali. He's an international relations analyst. You're welcome to Nigeria today.
Good evening, Eukaria, and I'm pleased to be on NTA once again.
Okay, now looking at the president's visit, it attracted a lot of attention. Now, talk to us, Dr. Omali. Now, what significance does this from a diplomatic point of view, does this visit hold for Nigeria?
Well, this diplomacy, as you know, is about joining, is about engaging with other nations. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has been very, very forthcoming in terms of engaging with countries of the world. Brazil is a country, is the largest economy in Latin America, that is in Southern America. And our president this is the third time that he has gone to Brazil. He went during the BRICS summit. He went again sometime in 2024. So he is trying to network with countries that share similar economic and socio-cultural background with Nigeria, and Brazil fits into that view, because Brazil and Nigeria share very close cultural and economic affinity. In terms of population, it's one of the largest, most populated countries in Latin America, just like Nigeria in Africa. It's technologically advanced. It's one of the fastest growing economy in the world. And the president, in his wisdom, deemed it necessary to constructively engage with Brazil. And Nigeria definitely has a lot to learn from Brazil's economic development.
Thank you very much for that opening remark, Dr. Adoyi. Now, we are being joined via Zoom by Paul Ejime. He's an international affairs analyst. You're welcome to Nigeria today.
Thank you, Eukaria. Thank you for having me.
Paul, talk to us. How does this visit strengthen Nigeria, Brazil, diplomatic and economic, relations?
Your line is not very good, but if I heard you talking about the significance, the economic importance of this, it's people say that the external relations or policy is aggregation of a nation's domestic policy. So I think the president or his administration, they are doing what other governments do, trying to, collaborate. Now that you see that nationalism and, protection, everybody is trying to protect their economy. I think countries, in spite of that, are reaching out to others. Look at what U.S. is doing with the tariff and tax battle that the American president is waging, and rich also, if you remember, organization of countries that are trying to present a third force in international relations. Brazil is one of them. In fact, the P there stands for BRICS. It's Brazil and Russia and others. So it is a welcome development. But the problem with this type of thing is that Nigeria has never fallen short. There is no there is no limit of ideas. What is lacking is implementation. What is lacking is the political will for continuation, consistency, sustainability. Because this is not the first time that Nigeria. In fact, their relationship dates back to more than the 60s, the 65 or 70 years, even before independence. Remember the transatlantic slave trade, when some West Africans were uprooted from the coast and then taken to South America, Latin America, and then Brazil and other places to work in sugarcane plantations and all that. So, and when they were now liberated, some of them came back. That is why in Lagos and Badagry, you can find Brazilian names like the Canosos, the Souzas, and all that. And the Brazilian architecture is also present in Nigeria, particularly in on Lagos Island. And the culture, you have the carnival. They are trying to replicate that. So there is a commonality between these two countries. What is lacking is actually harnessing it and then putting it into good use. But the other issue, Eukarya, is that it comes in fits and starts. For instance, Nigeria cannot be doing this type of thing without Nigerian ambassadors in place. For the last 2 years, Nigeria does not have ambassadors in place. And you can sign all the MOUs, all the contracts, but human beings have to pursue them, have to drive them. So Nigeria cannot, on one hand, be trying to do all this by its own, and then shooting itself in the foot by not having ambassadors in foreign countries. So that is the contradiction.
There are some issues you raised there, and of course we'll come back to that shortly. Now, Dr. Adoyi, some of the the conversation was around trade. They had engagements, conversation around trade, energy, technology, agriculture. Now, how can Nigeria leverage the Brazil's expertise on agriculture, energy, and technology?
Yes, Brazil is a very technologically advanced country. They have a very good car assembly plants, Marco Polo buses. They have been able to assemble a lot of vehicles. And, in Nigeria today, most of our car assembly plants are down. We can leverage on that, transfer technology to see how we can resuscitate our moribund car assembly plants. Secondly, Petrobras, one of the key highlights of Mr. President's discussion in Brazil was for Petrobras to come back to Nigeria after being away for 5 years. And Petrobras is one of the largest public-owned oil company in the world. In fact, according to Forbes, Petrobras is among the best 58 public-quoted oil companies in the world, public companies in the world, in the 2000 report by Forbes. So Petrobras coming to Nigeria will help us to tap our gas resources, will also help to create much needed employment for our youths, and we're also pumping a lot of needed money into our energy sector. So that is a very good initiative. In the agricultural sector, the president has pursued a lot of investment from Brazil, especially in the area of livestock development, about 2.8 billion is to be pumped into the Nigerian economy to enhance livestock, chicken farming, cattle, ranching, and so on. All these are things that we are going to be benefiting. But above all, was the bilateral trade, bilateral air agreement, BASA agreement, with direct flights between Nigeria and Sao Paulo. That is a very, very landmark decision by both Nigeria and Brazil, and that will also enhance trade between the two countries. So, by and large, the visit by Mr. President, and you see the high caliber of delegation that Mr. President has taken. So, in the areas of science and technology, in the area of aviation, in the area of agriculture, in the area of energy, you see, so the caliber, high-level MOU that have been entered in all these various sectors. We pray that at the end of the day, all this will be implemented, and I know that it will be to the benefit of the entire Nigerian populace. This is very instructive because at this point in time, we need to diversify our economy. And Brazil will play a very, very critical part. Don't forget that Brazil has exported close to almost $2.something billion export to Nigeria in the area of even providing sugar to the teeming Nigerian population. They have exported a lot of agricultural produce. They have also exported a lot of science, transfer of technology, and so on. And so it's a very good one, and we hope to sustain this relationship. And on the diplomatic front, they have committed to training our foreign affairs officer. I had my colleague online who was talking about appointment of diplomacy, of ambassadors. Ambassadors are at a higher level as a lecturer of diplomacy. Yes, but it doesn't mean that the Nigerian missions are not running. There are career diplomats that are in these missions, and they are active. Mr. President wouldn't have gone to this type of high-level visit without the Nigerian mission being involved in organizing and articulating it. Okay. So I think a lot has been put in, and all we need is to ensure that all these are implemented to the benefit of the Nigerian economy.
Thank you, Dr. Adoyi. Now, back to you, Paul. Now, having heard that, I know you were concerned about the appointment of ambassadors, but however, Dr. Adoyi has, cleared a little bit of doubts there by telling us, of course, that the president, of course, would have the mission there, and of course, definitely going for that kind of high-level engagement would have some, strategies on ground to ensure that these things are moved beyond just the visit. Now, having said that, Paul, tell us, what opportunities does this visit open for Nigerian businesses and exporters in the Latin American market?
Again, your line is still, maybe the way it comes out here is not very well, but I will try to... you are talking about what it will, the effect it will have on Nigeria and then Nigerian commerce, if I understand you. So my position will be that you can never replace the position or the role of ambassadors, no matter. The president has so much on his hand to be able to be hopping from one country to the other to be doing what an ambassador. An ambassador is an ambassador. You can have all the people in the mission, but when you are discussing, and you look at following on some of the MOUs or contracts that have been assigned, you need people to drive it. And there is a limit to which low-level diplomats can push anything, because they are limited. Every function is you have it the description of your role, but we are not dwelling on that. But it will help. For instance, one of the agreements signed was that of, having PASA, bilateral air services agreement that would see Air Peace having now direct flight between Nigeria and Brazil, and which is good. That is all very good. But like I said, you need people both on ground and then in both countries to put, give emphasis to this, to drive it. Because what happens is that once they finish, for example, you believe the trade between these two countries was about $10 billion in 2014. But today is a mere 2.1 billion. I mean, what it tells you is that there is a retrogression. And what causes some of that is that there is no push. When you sign, you can sign the best MOU, but if it is not given implementation, if it is not given its force, it becomes just an ordinary paper. And that is why you need to have, substantive ambassadors in place to be able to relate, not on an episodic level or period, but every day push it to meet those who are going to investors in Brazil, to move them, advocate to them about the need to come and invest in Nigeria, and so on and so forth. So there is that need, and it can have more effect. And Nigeria is now trying to become either an associate member or a member of BRICS. BRICS. We're bringing in Brazil, Russia, India, and so on, all those countries, because of the position of the West, and then particularly America. Donald Trump is now putting a heavy tariff on external trade, and everybody is feeling it. Now it is for those who will now be strategic in choosing the partners that will be able to mitigate some of these problems in the international relations and international trade. And that is why having substantive ambassadors in place is very critical. The president is doing well by doing it, but he cannot do it by himself. He has a lot of work. So how many countries can he visit even in 4 years or 8 years? So this is the question. To have that political will to strategize at home from all the relevant ministries, Ministry of Trade, Ministry of Economy, Planning, External Affairs, to all of them come together to be able to put Nigeria's best foot forward.
Paul, we are going to take a short break now. The conversation will continue after the break. Don't go away.
Implementation of the ruling is also dependent on another aspect or another arm of government.
Nowhere in the world will allow under digital economy for banks not to be dispensing domestic currency in that economy.
What will make this one different? We want to know what they do as occupation. All of these are attributes that are questions have been designed to investigate.
In a few days to come, you see that we are all around their own crannies and everywhere in Nigeria, telling people to cooperate.
Welcome to Nigeria Today.
Welcome back. In case you are just joining us, this is Nigeria Today. We are looking at the president's visit to Brazil and some key takeaways there. I have with me two gentlemen. One joined us virtually and one here in the studio. Now, Dr. Adoyi, earlier, I know it's like Paul did not really get the questions probably because of the maybe network issues. He could not really get clearly some of the questions I was asking. So I would want you to really, talk to us about this. What are the, the expected benefits, or what opportunity does this visit open to Nigerian businesses, and also exporters in Latin American market?
Yes, Brazil has a very large population. Many of our goods will be able to market in Brazil. We We produce a lot of products that agricultural produce that can be exported to Brazil. Soya beans, beniseed, tubers, starch, and several others that can be exported to Brazil. But above all, our gas resources, I earlier spoke about the Petrobras deal. Also, in terms of science, manufacturing, we have a lot to learn. As Mr. President said in one of his speech in Brazil, Brazil has attained some level of industrialization or manufacturing that we can really copy from, and that will help, especially in developing the Nigerian agricultural base, industrial base. But I think this collaboration even go far beyond that. We and Brazil share a lot of economic and cultural affinity. And just like Mr. President also said, since we share close economic and cultural ties, this type of collaboration will be very, very important in advancing the economy of both countries. So Nigeria stands to gain tremendously from this partnership with a country like Brazil. If you look at in the agricultural sector, for example, we need to develop our agricultural. We need to mechanize our agriculture, and we need to learn from Brazil how they have been able to do it, how they have been able to produce enough livestock, enhance their agricultural base, their poultry system, their all year round farming system, and so on. That will be very instrumental in creating much needed employment for our young people, also to diversify the Nigerian economy also away from oil. Because one of the key plank of the Tinubu administration is to diversify the Nigerian economy. And Brazil is a very good model to study because they are seen as one of the countries that have one of the fastest developing countries in the world.
So how significant? Paul talked about the BRICS, the Nigerian. How significant is Brazil's support for Nigeria? Talking about the BRICS and other multilateral platforms.
Yes, in July, Mr. President was in Brazil. This is the third visit since he became president. In 2024, he was in Brazil. In July this year, he was there on the sidelines of the BRICS conference. And all this is because Brazil is an economic model that we as Nigerians, because we want to also jumpstart our economy, to throw away the past and also move ahead. So Brazil is a very good example that we can replicate, we can copy, we can mirror to also advance our economic development. I think that is...
And also the culture.
And also culturally. Dr. Ibe talked about the long-standing historical cultural ties between Nigeria and Brazil. So all these synchronize together to make Brazil a very good case study of how we can develop the Nigerian economy. And I think our thinkers in the presidency, our leaders are looking toward that direction to see what is it that Brazil is doing right. How can we leverage on what they are doing to ensure that we can also get to the level that they have attained. I think that is the whole idea. Thank
you very much, Dr. Adoye Matthew Mali, International Relations Analyst. Thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thank you for having me.
And also Paul Ejime, International Affairs Analyst. Thank you so much, Paul, for adding your voice to these issues. And thank you for being part of the program. Don't forget, Nigeria Today airs every weekday at 7:30 p.m. on NTA News24. You can also check out this episode and others on www.youtube.com/NTA News24 Hub. I'm your carrier, Clinton. Goodbye.